Hello dear viewers. Welcome to our channel, where we provide the fastest updates and the most in-depth analysis of the shocking developments of The Young and the Restless. In the second episode aired on May 26, the undercurrent of power, love betrayal and manipulation conspiracies are smoldering in Genoa City. Today, we will take you to a new dramatic chapter, where every secret has a price, and no one is innocent. The atmosphere in the hotel room still lingers with the warmth from the night before. Kyle wakes up to the familiar, strong scent of expensive perfume and an unusual silence. Sunlight filters through the curtains, gently shining on the rumpled blanket as evidence of the chaotic emotions he just experienced. Beside him, Audra has her eyes closed, but her lips still have a satisfied smile. Kyle sighed, feeling a mixture of satisfaction and unease. He knew he had crossed the line. What he didn't know was that everything in that room, every touch, every gasp, every passionate glance, was secretly recorded by a tiny camera attached to the wall, under the direction of someone he didn't expect, Tucker. No one knew when Tucker had started planning, but every detail was carefully calculated, from the moment Kyle and Audra arrived at the hotel, to the receptionist suddenly changing shifts and assigning rooms with pre-installed monitoring devices. For Tucker, the game wasn't just about regaining power, it was also about revenge. Revenge on Jabot, revenge on those who had looked down on him, and most of all clearing the way for Audra, the sharpest and most dangerous card he had in his hands. Audra didn't love Kyle. She knew that. But she also knew better than anyone that a man who was hurting from his broken marriage to Summer, who was doubted and isolated by his family, would be easy prey for manipulation. That night, she didn't need to say much, didn't need to promise anything. Just a sympathetic look, a timely touch, and a few drinks to burn down the last defenses in Kyle's heart. He rushed into her like a storm looking for a place to bury itself, not knowing that he was entering a battle in which he was the underdog from the start. The next morning, after Audra had left the hotel, leaving a note with a few cryptic words, Kyle slowly returned to his apartment. He turned on his computer, intending to check his work email, when he saw a strange message sent to his private inbox. No greeting, no sender, just a link with a short line: "Be careful of the woman lying next to you." Curiosity and a bad feeling prompted him to click. The screen immediately showed a short video, no more than 10 minutes long, of him and Audra in the hotel room. No angle showed faces, but it took him only a few seconds to recognize himself. Kyle froze. His heart was pounding, his hand shaking as he scrolled down to the next line. "If you don't want the world to see this, you better do exactly what we ask." There was no specific request, no sender's identity, but Kyle knew this was the first warning. And he knew better than anyone who was behind it. Only Tucker had the ability, the reason, the coldness to pull such a dirty trick. All the broken pieces in his head began to fit together into a terrifying picture. He remembered the way Audra had looked at him the day before, her silent encouragement that he deserved a higher position at Jabot, and her hints about doing the right thing for yourself. She had seduced him not only with her body, but also with her dreams of power. And he had walked into that trap, foolish as a young man. Meanwhile, elsewhere, turmoil was brewing at the Abbott mansion. Diane thought the past was buried. She thought she had succeeded in gaining Jack's trust, earning his love, respect, and trust in her power at Jabot. But Billy didn't think so. The doubts that had long been suppressed in his heart had now erupted into action. With evidence gathered from a secret conversation between Diane and a former associate, Billy publicly exposed her scheme at a board meeting. He produced a recording, where Diane coldly discussed with others how she had tried to push Jack out of the CEO position, just before she reappeared in Genoa City. Jack was stunned. The look he gave Diane was no longer love, no longer anger, only utter disappointment. A cold nod was all he said before he quietly left the conference room. That same day, his lawyer filed for divorce. Diane was devastated. Everything she had worked so hard to build had collapsed in an instant. Not only had she lost Jack, she had lost the trust of the Jabot board, and faced the risk of being ousted from the company once again. The event sent shockwaves through the Abbott household. In the public eye, the family had maintained a perfect facade. But inside, every link was breaking. Billy took the opportunity to propose a change in the governance structure. While Ashley, returning after a long absence, had a series of questions about Kyle's loyalty, especially when she heard rumors of his shady connections to Audra and Tucker. Kyle is now at a crossroads. He knows he can't reveal the video, because it would ruin his reputation and the Abbott clan. But if he stays silent, he will forever be Tucker's puppet, and Audra will continue to use him as a card in the power struggle. Worse still, if Jack finds out, while the family is in turmoil because Diane, his only child, has betrayed him by conspiring with the enemy, the consequences will be unimaginable. Audra, somewhere in the shadows, is watching. She has no fear, no regrets. Every move is part of her plan. She knows Kyle is in turmoil, and that makes him easier to manipulate than ever. She has planted the seeds of doubt, broken the bond between Kyle and his father, and given Tucker more leverage to attack Chabot from within. But what even Audra doesn't know is that Kyle, naive and vulnerable as he is, isn't someone who can be controlled for long. He begins to quietly investigate. He hires a cybersecurity expert to identify the IP address of the person who sent the video, and trace the recording device. In the process, he discovers another shocking secret. Audra and Tucker are not only working together to manipulate Chabot, but are also plotting to gain access to Newman Enterprises, through a shady merger plan that could throw both corporations into chaos, and Kyle is the key intermediary. Now, it all depends on Kyle's choice. Will he become a pawn, or rise up as the true heir to protect the family's honor? Audra can continue to manipulate, but if Kyle decides to strike back, the tables could turn. All will continue to be revealed in the following episodes, where every secret will one day be exposed, and the price to pay is never cheap. If you don't want to miss any shocking developments on The Young and the Restless, subscribe and follow our channel today. Join us in exploring intrigue, love, betrayal and hatred, because in Genoa City, nothing lasts forever, except for surprises.